can you learn all about investing and personal finance from YouTube or podcasts? Says the person with a channel on YouTube about personal finance and investing, but let's see if it's really possible. Oh, the allure of learning something for free. And if you're an English teacher, I am sure that you have met students who have perfectly learned English from watching films. I've met those students. They are amazing. Yet they still do come to lessons, otherwise we wouldn't have met them, right? So there must be something about learning something from somebody who's actually going to teach you that is better, or at least different, from learning from watching podcasts and YouTube. But what? Now, I should say before we carry on that I did learn about investing mostly from podcasts. I didn't watch YouTube videos, but podcasts, and then reading around the topic on blogs. And I can tell you that it took me about 6 months. And I knew enough to be able to start putting my money in places, but then I did make some mistakes that I don't think I would have made had I been following a course, or had I had somebody teaching me and showing me what to do and stopping me from doing some of the things wrong that I did. I learned from those mistakes, but it was certainly a lot slower than if somebody had said, no, don't do that because of this. I'd say it took me about 6 months to learn enough to start doing it. Then there were the maybe couple of months that I sort of was learning by doing it and getting it wrong. And then after that, I really refined a lot of what I knew because I created a course to teach other people in ELT what I knew. And it was through creating a course that you realize when you've got to explain something to somebody else, it actually requires you to go and understand it to a deeper level yourself. So just in creating the course where I teach other people about investing, I learned it a lot better than I had done before. Now, when I started wanting to learn about investing, I didn't actually know that what I was going to learn about was investing. So one of the problems about sort of self-study from the sheer vastness of the amount of knowledge on the internet is that if you don't know where to start because you don't actually know what the question is, then it's very hard. And of course we've got ChatGPT now, and we didn't have that when I started, but because I didn't know what question to ask, I'm not sure I really would have got anywhere with ChatGPT either. So you at least, to begin with, need some way of narrowing down the focus of what it is you're trying to learn. Now, when I started listening to podcasts to learn about investing, I ended up listening to financial analysts, some CNBC podcast, I think it was, where they talked about the daily markets and the trends, and the analysts said, blah, blah, this is going to make a load of money, and blah, blah, this is the reason why it won't make a lot of money. And I didn't understand it, but also I was really bored. And it took me a while to realize that what they were talking about was not the kind of investing that I needed to know about, because I wasn't going to be a trader. Have you ever seen that game show game, or sometimes they have it in arcades, where lots and lots of tickets are blowing out of a fan really fast, and the person has got to catch as many of them as they can and stuff them into another drawer, and if they catch enough of them they win the prize? That is what learning by yourself from the internet is like. You've got to catch as much information as you can, and then somehow you've got to stuff it all into your brain and hope that you win. And so obviously I'm not saying you can't do that, because I did do that, but you can certainly learn a lot faster with a teacher. And if you're an English teacher, I'm sure you know this, because you are helping your students avoid certain mistakes. You're helping them focus on the things that are actually going to be useful for them. And I think the analogy really works with anything, actually, to be honest. Yes, you can learn by yourself, but yes, you can also do it faster with a coach or with a teacher. Now, I'm happy to tell you which podcasts I used. Once I'd realized that the CNBC market analysis wasn't for me, I found a podcast called Invest Like a Boss, 2 American self-made millionaires. I still listen to them to this day, and they helped me understand these things that I'd kind of come across in other places, and they helped me piece it together. Their perspective is American, which is very different, so I had to kind of filter out the bits that weren't going to apply to me as a British person in Europe. And of course they're millionaires, and a lot of their investing interests didn't really align with mine, but they've got 307 episodes or so now. Now, it's a couple of years further on than when I started listening to them, so there's probably another 100 episodes or so, and I think they've got over 300 at the moment, but that is certainly somewhere that you could start too. And if you want to do it quicker, then you might want to look for something else. But the other thing I think was that I had a genuine, real interest in the topic, so I was quite happy to listen to a lot of podcasts. Whereas if you just want to know because you want to do it and you're really not that interested, then maybe you want something that's more concise, shorter time frame for you than just listening until you've absorbed enough knowledge to be able to do something. The other difference that a course or a teacher or a tutor or a coach or something like that makes is keeps you motivated. It gives accountability. It makes you do those things. And also the coach is kind of ahead of you. They know where you're going to trip up, what mistakes you're going to make, whereas YouTube and the internet will just keep spewing out content at you until you literally cannot take anymore. And that overwhelm of content might well be the thing that weirdly stops you doing it, because you don't really feel like you can ever stop learning because there's always more content. Now, you could find a book. There are certain books that have been really useful in the way that I think. The Psychology of Money is a really excellent book, but it doesn't teach you the nuts and bolts of which account to open. So I think the way to look at learning online for free from all the vast resources and the experts and things out there is it's a great way to answer a very specific question if you know what that question is, and it's a really good way to get an introduction to the topic and just kind of see how you feel about this idea that you've started to think about. And if you want to do it faster, if you want to do it with accountability built in, if you want to do it with somebody helping you avoid the pitfalls, then just like your students, you're probably going to go and look for a teacher. And I think as teachers, of course, we all know the value of teaching. So if you want to start learning about personal finance and investing and what you can do with your money from YouTube, from podcasts, from books, you probably want to draw yourself up a syllabus of things that you want to know about. And that might speed up the kind of wading through all the masses of information that you're going to find. I looked at the list of all of the Invest Like a Boss podcasts and I cherry picked the ones that I thought would be useful. And then I definitely listened to some of them in the wrong order, but when I would listen to one, I would think, oh, okay, I remember that I've seen another episode about something that relates to that, so I would go back and I would listen to that one. It would fill more gaps. Invest Like a Boss might not be for you. It's very American, but it was certainly enough to get me started on the right kind of track. There are other really good podcasts that I've found since, based in Britain. There's one called Money to the Masses. That is really useful. Again, a lot of content, but it's very good. And there's another British one, This Is Money. Now that is a bit more about the why, like it will talk about the budget, it'll talk about politics, it talks about a lot of things that are specific to Britain. But again, they've got some really core episodes that you can probably find by flicking through and looking for things about what to do about your pension, for example. That's only really going to suit you if you are in Britain. But again, some of the loose concepts are things that you can follow wherever you are. If you want to speed that up, then by all means, get in touch. You can check out my website, www.chilledinvestor.com, which will give you some idea of where to start and how to get in touch with me. But if you are going to learn by yourself, I did it, so I know it can be done. Good luck.